Good afternoon and welcome. I'm glad you're here. Time is valuable and you don't want to waste it somewhere else, right? So thank you for coming, and this is going to be fun. I'm Rhea Graham from Albany's Canna Kitchen, and today we're going to talk about cannabis as medicine and how to get off pharmaceuticals. Cannabis has a whole bunch of terpenes in it, for one thing. It's got a lot of things in it. But you've learned about sweet, sour, spicy, and bitter, the taste on your tongue. Well, it goes much further than that. And this is just a pretty little wheel that we'll get back to somewhat later. First, I have to tell you, I am not a doctor. I have never pretended to be one. This is my perspective, not medical advice. But I would take it if it were me. My shop has been open since 11/11/11. I study cannabis day and night, and I love what I do. Like cannabis, I've never killed anyone. I'll bet your doctor can't say the same. Today we're going to learn about your endo-cannabanoid system, homeostasis, decarboxilation, terpenes, smokeless cannabis remedies, microdosing, drug interactions, and getting off pharmaceuticals. The endo-cannabanoid system was recently discovered in 1992, actually. In 1964, the good Dr. Michelin isolated THC and CBD, and in 1988, the first receptor CB1, was found in the rat brain. And then Marinol, synthetic THC, was created, okay? In 1992, the first endocannabinoid was discovered, and that's anandamide. That word means bliss in Sanskrit, and it is THC that the body makes. So it's the bliss molecule. In 1993, the CB2 receptor was discovered, and those receptors are in the gut, the spleen, the liver, heart, kidneys, bones, blood vessels, lymph cells, and even the reproductive organs. In 1995, the 2-AG endocannabinoid was discovered. Your endocannabanoid system, or ECS, is in charge of everything. It is the boss of your body, and most doctors don't even know about it. That's pretty sad, isn't it? The reason most doctors don't know about it is because the pharmaceutical companies own most medical schools. So they teach which pills to give for which symptoms and which pills to give for the side effects of those pills that they gave for the pills that they gave for the pills that they gave. The longer you go to that doctor, the more pills you'll be on, and the younger you will die, chances are. So your endocannabanoid system is in charge of all of your regulatory systems. So it's the regulatory system of the regulatory systems. How's that? It controls your circulation, your respirations, your urinary function, reproductive, integumentary. I had to look that one up just to find out it means your skin, hair, nails on animals, the hooves and everything, okay? Your skeletal, muscular, nervous system, lymphatic system, your endocrine system, and your digestive system. The endocannabanoid system is your boss, like it or don't. And you've got one, like it or not. The purpose of the endocannabanoid system is to bring our body to homeostasis, or perfect balance. It will bring weight loss, it will help you sleep, it will manage your pain, and become a healthy you. A recent study that was done by the Brightfield Group and Hello MD, they launched the most in-depth customer survey and found out from 2,400 respondents that 41% of the cannabis users surveyed swapped all their medications in favor of cannabis. 58% use cannabis and others, or alternate between them. Nearly half of all the respondents, 46%, had previously used opioids to treat their conditions and had given them up completely to use cannabis instead. 43% who had previously used any prescription drugs, including opioids and drugs for anxiety, sleep, nausea, attention deficit disorder, and migraines, have given them up entirely for cannabis instead. And they are extremely happy with the results, right? 74% of respondents who had previously used opioids consider cannabis to be extremely effective. 17% say moderately effective. And it seems to be a replacement for traditional pharmaceuticals. What is cannabis? There's cannabis sativa, cannabis indica, and cannabis ruderalis. Sativa is a daytime For most people, it's a tall, skinny plant that grows longer to get mature. Indica plants are short, squatty, they have big fat leaves, and they make you sleepy typically, get rid of pain, and work well on a lot of things. Cannabis plants are full of cannabinoids. THC and CBD are the most studied cannabinoids, but there are many, many more. There's terpenes and flavonoids in it. Per the National Institute on Drug Abuse, the plant also contains more than 500 other chemicals, including more than 100 compounds that are chemically related to THC, and those are called cannabinoids. How is cannabis used? If you were nursed, the first cannabis you had came from your mama's breast milk. So there, right? It can be smoked, it can be vaped, it can be applied topically to the skin, you can eat it internally, you can take capsules, you can use suppositories, elixir or tincture, salve, massage oil, liniment, shampoo, cooking oils. It can be in virtually any food. I like to medicate my bacon. You could even infuse your butter and have toasted butter with medicated bacon and just whatever you'd like. You can do virtually anything with it. How does using cannabis make you feel? Some of the most or more desirable short-term effects: it makes you feel relaxed, a little bit giddy. You can experience those things around you better, such as sights and sounds are more intense. You may have an increased appetite, but not always, depending on the strain you use. A downside is a little bit of altered perception of time and events. Like 15 minutes can go by and it can seem like an hour, or just the opposite. An hour can go by and you're sure it was just 15 minutes, so now you're late. If you use too much THC, it is not pleasant. You may have coordination issues, like you're stoned. You'll have a delayed reaction time, so please don't drive. You may feel nauseous, and that means you had too much THC. If you're lethargic, that's pretty strain dependent. You might have heard of couch lock from indica. It will sit you down. Too much THC will also cause anxiety, so less is more. It can make your heart race a little bit, tachycardia, but you can calm yourself down. It'll decrease your blood pressure, especially when you're also on blood pressure medicines. You want to be careful of that, and you want to get off your blood pressure medicine because the side effects of that stuff is horrible. So manage it with your cannabis instead. And you also may get a little bit paranoid. And paranoia is very much strain dependent. It's usually sativa strains that make you paranoid. And it's really a mind thing. Paranoia is said to have been developed for way back in the day, to keep us looking over our shoulder to be safe, you know, when the animals were after us, way back in hunter-gatherer days. Now it'll make you a better driver if you're driving and using cannabis a bit. Don't use a lot of cannabis and drive, but I'm just saying, there have been studies done that says people using cannabis drive better than those who are not. But they're not talking about people who are blotto. It's like microdosing or just a normal dose. I encourage everyone to use whole plant medicine instead of just CBD or THC or whatever. And don't be mistaken or led to believe that you only need the flower to make good medicine, because some of the best medicine comes out of the root, of all places. The root only has trace amounts of THC and CBD, so there's virtually no high ever when you use root capsules or root medicine. The stem is very useful for medicine for the lungs. It'll get rid of any cough or whatever more often than not. Cannabis is an expectorant, so it'll help you to spit out the nasty stuff that you don't need, and it'll help you breathe as well. You can use the leaf in different medicines. I like putting leaf in smoothies in the morning. Fresh leaf will get rid of muscle spasms, seizures, all kinds of pain, and inflammation especially. And inflammation is the basis of most disease, so putting about 10 fresh leaves in your smoothies in the morning will really improve your health. And then there's the seeds that are crushed to make hemp seed oil. The flower is oftentimes smoked, but is used best in making cannabis oil. You could definitely use the full plant in the oil concentrate though. Not everyone likes to get high, and most all of my patients don't want to be high. They want to function and get through life. There's a time and a place for everything. If you want to get a little bit lit up, that's fine, I don't care. But my people typically don't want to, so I teach them about microdosing. And that means you take just a little bit several times a day. And we'll talk more about that later. You also don't want to decarboxylate your cannabis if you don't want to get high. And what does that mean? Don't put any heat to it. Don't light it up and smoke it, because as soon as you light it, it decarboxylates. It takes off that oxygen carboxyl, so it's no longer THCA, it turns into THC, it's activated, it makes you high. Okay? So time and temperature is what decarboxylates it. So smoking and vaping it do, or people decarboxylate it in the oven to activate the THC for their cookies and brownies and whatnot. It will also activate while you're cooking if you cook it long enough at a high enough temperature. Or in your stomach, it can decarboxylate also. As you know, it gets hot in there, right? At least 98.6. And if you ate a heavy meal, it would stay in there a long time. So in time, it could decarboxylate and make you high. So if you eat it with a light meal, just kind of pass it on through, you'll get a lot of nutrition out of it and not get the high. So why do we want to microdose? Because less is more. You don't need to be high to get well. And there are 5 conditions that are worsened by using too much THC. That's anxiety, depression, insomnia, heart disease, and pain, especially neuropathy. Too much THC just brings on more burning pain, so we don't want that. So microdosing is doing several doses throughout the day, and it's very effective. You can dose 2 to 3 times a day, or you can do lots of doses. It's a math thing, but it's easy. A low dose is under 10 milligrams. Low to medium dose is 10 to 15. Medium to high would be 16 to 49, and a high dose is 50 milligrams or more of THC. So let's do the math. A gram of cannabis oil concentrate that's considered to be 80% THC would have 800 milligrams of THC. So if you made 100 capsules, you'd have 8 milligrams per capsule. And if you took 4 of those a day, you could do 32 milligrams throughout the day, which is a nice dose. If you took 5 of them a day, you could do 40 milligrams, again a nice dose. So that 1 gram of oil cost you $40 at the dispensary, and there's 20 to 25 days worth of medicine. Everyone thinks cannabis is expensive. It doesn't have to be. So how to use cannabis? Smokeless Cannabis Remedies. Smoking it will make you not care that you hurt or forget that you hurt. Smoking will do some good things, like if you have lung cancer tumors. Smoking it and vaping it, it's good to bathe it in that, right? That can help. But smokeless cannabis remedies really help do the job and to get you well. For the health of it. I always feel like I'm going to say for the hell of it, but no, it's the health of it. The side effects of pain pills are pretty miserable. Not only can they kill you by overdose, and unsuspectingly, very often, they make it so you can't have a bowel movement, so you get all bound up, and that's probably the worst thing about them. And people don't talk about it till I do, and they're like, yeah, you're right, oh my God, you're so right, I couldn't poop for a week. So then, all those toxins are leaching out into your system and making you sicker while you don't poop, okay? And then there's cancer treatment. Here, let me poison you to the brink of death to see if I can make you well. Do you believe that? Really? Don't believe that. They're going to kill you, okay? The side effects of most pharmaceuticals are worse than the original condition, okay? Let's say you have a little bit of breast cancer, and then, okay, well, we're going to cut that breast off, and we're going to poison you for several months, and then we'll radiate. We'll see how you do. Don't believe it. Don't buy it, man. I've got friends who will tell you, don't do it. I know people who can't tell you not to do it because they died doing it. And that's any cancer, okay? The side effects of Parkinson's pills, for example, one of the prescriptions is called L-Dopa. Have you talked to many Parkinson's patients that are on L-Dopa? They are L-Dopa. It's a terrible condition that they're putting them in. And the thing is, all the side effects of that pill and the other ones, the 2 others that they prescribe for Parkinson's, have the side effects of Parkinson's conditions. Wait a minute. Really? It's a real ripoff. I have treated Parkinson's patients with root and fresh leaf and had like 100% success. So if you know a Parkinson's patient, please send them to me. I want to talk to them. So how are we going to replace your pharmaceuticals? You can talk to your doctor or my doctor. You start low, go slow. Less is more, right? Start using more cannabis and less poison. You can get off any pill you're on, I guarantee it. You can schedule a consultation with me. You call me, 541-981-2620. We can do in-home visits, phone visits at our site, and we'll teach you how to use what you need and how to make it. There's just some random information I want to share with you before we go on to other good stuff. Cannabis is a truth serum. I will never lie to you, and you will become very honest using cannabis. You can't die from an overdose. Sometimes I forget to tell people that, and that's probably the most important thing you need to tell everyone. Cannabis cannot kill you by overdose. Why is that? Because our Creator is brilliant. We don't have enough receptors on our brainstem to stop our breathing or our heart. So you literally can't die using it. Unless you're horribly allergic, and chances are you're not. You should watch Hemp for Victory on YouTube. It's about a 13-minute video that the US government put out. I believe it was 1942. All farmers were required to watch it and sign a document saying they had. They were trying to get all the farmers to grow hemp for the war effort. Okay, we needed it for rope and all kinds of good stuff. And then directly after the war, it was back to being illegal. Okay, there's a video called Run from the Cure. It talks about making cannabis oil to get rid of cancer and other ailments. Rick Simpson does that. I hope you can find the one where he uses food-grade alcohol. Food-grade materials are all that you ever use to make medicine. You don't make medicine with poison, okay? Poison won't make you well 99.9% of the time. When you use cannabis, your blood work will be right up the middle. There's that homeostasis. Yeah, your doctor will say, oh, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it because everything is just right. CBD is a natural antidote to THC. So if you get too high, a nice dose of CBD will bring you down and calm you right back down. You can also sniff pepper or chew peppercorns for anxiety if you get too much THC, and that will help bring you down. This is my favorite. You can't spell healthcare without THC. Cannabis is non-addictive. 10% of the people will be addicted to something no matter what. Water, exercise, sex, reading, whatever. So if they say they're addicted to cannabis, say, yeah, but you would be anyway. So no matter how you do it, you need THC to have health care. I'm sure I missed a lot, and I'm going to let you ask questions, but first I would like to talk about terpenes. So we're going to talk about terpenes, but we're going to go back and do a little bit of refresher first. The endo-cannabanoid system, as we know, was discovered in 1992. Everything except insects has one. You should feed yours, and it brings your body to homeostasis. It's the endo-cannabanoid system, meaning endogenous. It originates within the body. The cannabinoids are the chemical messengers, and it's our body's regulatory system. It regulates your mood, memory, appetite, pain, sleep, temperature, inflammation, movement, and more. The two known endocannabinoids, two of the known ones are anandamide and 2-AG, and they're both capable of binding to both receptors. CBG is a precursor to the other cannabinoids, especially THC and CBD, and it is for anxiety. So if you pick your plants early and use the leaf early, it's super good for anxiety because it's got a lot of CBG in it. And this is why, as I said, it's important. CBG does not get you high. So a little bit about decarboxylation. Earlier I spoke about when you light it up on fire, the carboxyl goes away. It's THCA, or acid, until that part happens. With the heat, when it's in the acid form, you don't get high. So that's why you don't want to decarboxylate it, if you don't want to be high. THCA is the best anti-inflammatory on the planet, and it tastes great in a fruit smoothie. And then we talk about euphoria, just briefly. People are afraid of euphoria. They don't know what it is. They think it's something that it's not. When you say, oh, you'll feel euphoric, and they think that's some floaty reefer madness feeling or something, that giggly thing that won't go away. That's not what it is. It's a feeling of well-being or elation. It's a good thing. Some other side effects are dry eyes, dry mouth, anxiety or paranoia when you have too much again. The dry eyes, though, is great for glaucoma patients. Strains that make your eyes and mouth dry are the ones that lower eye pressure. If you have anxiety, you're using the wrong strain. But what are some of those sort of side effects from pharmaceuticals. Death, okay? But we're going to talk about terpenes instead. Terpenes are a large and diverse class of organic compounds produced by a variety of plants, particularly conifers, and by some insects, like ants. When you squish them and they stink, all right? Terpenes are hydrocarbons. Terpenes are the major components of rosin and of turpentine produced from resin. So turpentine, right? And medical turpentine, there you go. We're just going to cover the very basics of terpenes. What do? They provide scent, relief from various symptoms and conditions, and they work synergistically with the cannabinoids. Some promote relaxation and stress relief, while others give you focus and acuity. The development of terpenes in cannabis began for adaptation purposes to repel predators and lure pollinators. They influence the plant's development, or these things do: the climate, the weather, the age and maturation of the plant, the fertilizers, the soil, and even the time of day. In the morning, the terpenes are just flush and smell so good. They also provide the cannabis plant with a natural protection from bacteria and fungus, insects, and other environmental stresses. They smell like lemons and limes. They smell earthy. They smell like lavender and berries and cedar and pine and cloves. They smell herbal. They smell peppery, spicy, woody, and more. And they taste just as delicious. So according to Ed Rosenthal, a great cannabis grower of all time, if THC is the engine, terpenes are the steering wheel. Okay? It's the terpenes that affect your feelings as much as anything, and your wellness and all that. They shape and control the high of THC. They can make you relaxed, focused, energetic, sedated, unstressed, couch-locked, alert, happy, and more. So you want to use the whole plant medicine so that you have the entourage effect. You don't want just the CBD and some myrcene or something. You want it all. Let it work in concert. Isolates are not the same as whole plant medicine. An isolate it's an isolated part of the plant, okay? And there's a bell curve when using isolates. It'll work here and it'll work here, but in between there it doesn't work for you. And there are a lot of terpenes. Some say over 100, some say over 200. The one that most of you will know is alpha-pinene. If you go out here and walk through the forest, you'll smell it, and you'll be able to breathe better because it's a bronchodilator. So it's in all the pine trees and the conifers out here, but it's also in cannabis. And in cannabis, it has that same bronchodilator effect. So it helps you breathe. You can, when you vaporize cannabis, you can really taste all these different terpenes, and you can control your temperature very easily. And you can burn off the group down lower, and then you can heat it and smoke it or vape it again and get the next group. And when you're all done vaping it, you can make medicine out of it, and it's all decarboxylated for you. So pinene is a great anti-inflammatory, expectorant, bronchodilator, and local antiseptic. It's a natural compound isolated from pine needle oil, and it's shown anti-cancer activity in traditional Chinese medicine for many years. And they think that it lessens the effects of THC when you have higher pinene is a terpene in your medicine. Myrcene, however, is probably the most popular within the THC. Myrcene is the terpene that makes you high. It's found in mango. So if you eat mango and then use cannabis, you're going to get higher than you had if you didn't. So it's a little bit interesting that way. It's also in lemongrass, thyme, and hops. Some medicinal value: it's an antioxidant, and it's used for treating insomnia, pain, and inflammation. When a cannabis strain is high in it, that's when you get couch lock. Myrcene is the most common terpene in cannabis. It's an analgesic, anti-inflammatory, and antibiotic. It makes you relaxed, calm, antispasmodic, and sedative. You're sedate. It acts in synergy with THC and makes it more psychoactive. Pretty crazy. The reason it makes you higher is it lowers the resistance across the blood-brain barrier, allowing it to cross easier and more quickly, and to increase the saturation of the CB1 receptor, allowing for a more psychoactive effect. And then there's linalool, which is also found in lavender. It smells and tastes pretty good, and it's very nice When it's vaped, you can even vape lavender itself instead of cannabis and get linalool, right? And it enhances your mood, yet sedates you. It vaporizes pretty high, up at 388 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's great, however, for treating anxiety, depression, insomnia, pain, inflammation, and neurodegeneration. So an Alzheimer's patient, for example, might enjoy some of that. It smells like a flower. It will enhance your mood. It's used as a sleeping aid. People like the scent in their sleeping quarters, and it helps lure you to sleep. It lessens the anxious emotions provoked by pure THC. It boosts the immune system and can reduce lung inflammation. And it can restore cognitive and emotional function. So again, for Alzheimer's patients, it's really a great terpene. Limonene makes us happy. It smells citrusy. Lemons, limes, oranges all have that same terpene that's in the cannabis plant. Isn't that just beautiful? It works well to treat anxiety, again, depression, inflammation, pain, and cancer. It gives you an elevated mood and relieves stress. It's also found in fruit rinds, rosemary, juniper, and peppermint. It's dominant in strains with a pronounced sativa effect, so the daytime high, get up and go ones typically have limonene. It aids in the absorption of other terpenes through the skin and mucous membranes, so it's a good one to have in your salves as well. And it's used to treat anxiety and depression. It's also an antifungal for toenail funguses and that. We have had so many patients have a nail fungus and use salve and just get rid of it in days, or get rid of the symptoms of it. It aids in weight loss. It's being used currently in trials for breast cancer. It's an insecticide. It's, as you know, used in cleaning products. You smell lemon and orange ones all the time. That's why it cuts the grease. Strains that have lemon or sour in their name are usually rich in limonene. Some examples would be OG Kush, Sour Diesel, Super Lemon Haze, Durban Poison, Jack Hare, and Jack the Ripper. Durban Poison is an incredible strain I mentioned for weight loss. It's high in THCV typically. And then there's caryophyllene, which is pepper to most of us. It's the one that's so spicy in cannabis when you smell that spice. It vaporizes low down at 266. It smells like pepper, it's spicy, it's woody, maybe cloves. It's great for treating pain, anxiety, depression, and ulcers. And it is the only terpene that binds to the cannabinoid receptors. It produces anti-inflammatory and analgesic effects. I like it because it helps with alcohol rehabilitation. I am an alcoholic to the core. I just celebrated 13 years, no beers, and that makes me very happy because I'm much nicer when I don't drink. Humulene. It smells like hops, woody, earthy. It's an anti-inflammatory, found in hops, coriander, cloves, and basil. And it vaporizes fairly low at 222 also, and it's in a lot of different strains, and it's very popular. Anti-inflammatory potential, so it's really, that would be what it's used most for. But it's also effective in suppressing appetite, so many of our users would want it for that. Reduces inflammation, relieves pain, and fights bacterial infections. Some strains known to be high in it are White Widow, Headband, GSC, because we can't call it Girl Scout cookies anymore, Sour Diesel, Pink Kush, and Skywalker OG. Osamine is another terpene found in mint, parsley, pepper, basil, mangoes. And my point here is, see all these that are in the foods? Their same terpenes are in your cannabis. Eucalyptol in the eucalyptus tree helps us breathe, and right? Slows the growth of bacteria and fungus, and has promising effects on Alzheimer's. That's wonderful. And here we're back to this one. Sweet, sour, spicy, and bitter. They all taste and smells and all that go down to those four things from there and out. This is a nice wheel from Leafly at leafly.com. You can find it. And it'll tell you which THC, CBD, what they're used for. For example, it says that THC is used for appetite loss. So you can use it for anorexia, for example, and for nausea and Tourette's, and it's got all kinds of different uses. Sleep apnea. If you have questions, you'll want to call me, 541-981-2620. Thank you for spending your time with us today.